The secret foreign sign language hidden in plain sight. Dog Latin is a poisonous gloss that corrupts the essence of the text. This deception is about simple English text and a hidden text that has been usurped into the English text without you being aware of it, and causing a corruption in the text to take on a different meaning than what you think. This video shows how a foreign alien text appears in contracts, court orders, your driver license, passports, etc., without you ever being aware that such a foreign text existed. This trick played upon the unsuspecting public is administered by the true dogs of the underworld, in order to render you as a trustee of a foreign corporate banking entity, that is alien and foreign to your true sovereignty, the lawyers, judges, and the courts and their military police. Are the administrators of this hidden secret deception played upon the masses in order to maintain control of such slaves? Welcome to the Justinian deception. This all-uppercase text without hyphens between the signs is not English or Latin. The glossa is the all-uppercase Latin text appearing on any document. It is not English, it is an illustrative text, a so-called picture symbol, and not a descriptive text such as English. It has no jurisdiction with other written texts such as English descriptive text, unless agreed. If it's not English, it's not common law. The poison in the text of the glossa is now identified as Dog Latin, and has no correspondence with proper written English appearing on the same page. It is a corruption in the text that you unknowingly agree with. Here is an example of how the fraud text appears. This is proper English descriptive text. This is proper written sign language using the grammatical rules of Latin text. Identified in Article 11, 147 of the Chicago Manual of Styles, 16th edition. This text is Dog Latin, being Latin text based on the grammatical rules of English. Notice, no hyphens. This is known as debased Latin. Dog Latin, language of the illiterate. Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition. And is noted as criminal under the English Dictionary, identified as a Dog Latin, being a debased form of text. Debased synonyms appear as criminal, immoral, evil, and as a counterfeit, along with many more declensions. There is no jurisdiction between two separate languages appearing on one document. This is the guts of the deceptive crime. English and Latin, or Dog Latin, cannot exist as one jurisdiction. Reference, Article 11, 147 Chicago Manual of Styles, 16th edition, Foreign Languages. The reason why Dog Latin is used to deceive the public is because, as a foreign written language, it resembles English text closer than any other written foreign text. It has deceived the best of the best. Even though you assume you can read this text as English grammatically, it's impossible, and this is how they can claim that their law is a presumption, because it grammatically does not exist. According to the Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition, Dog Latin is the language of the illiterate. It is the Latin all-uppercase text, usurped into the English descriptive text, appearing under the grammatical rules of descriptive English text. All uppercase symbolic text without the hyphens, and not appearing under the true correct grammatical rules of Latin, and done in order to deceive the illiterate, being the ignorant masses. Ignorance is negligence. Dog Latin is the Babylonian language of the vassal, being the third party, debtor of the debtor, vassal of the vessel. It is found on the ledger, tombstones, and by you being attached to it, renders the presumption of conformation, sign, that you have sinned and you are dead. You have become the servant of the underworld, the gods of the dead corporation, the servant of the Vatican, the debtor of the debtor, subject to the Justinian corpus juris, language of the dead. The Vatican holds the souls of the dead, and the Dog Latin is the language of the dead. Look at any tombstone in the graveyard, its written text is in Dog Latin. The person and the corporation exists only in the water world, maritime jurisdiction of the dead. It has no place on land and with the living existence of good men. Land corporations are ships in dry dock, and their fraud Dog Latin language is a crime of deception and fraud against the living man. Check the synonyms of the word debase in your dictionary, because Dog Latin is identified as debased Latin. A crime. Dog Latin is the poison in the text, the counterfeit contract, the false charge, the deception that tricks the unsuspecting illiterate ignorant masses into accepting the debts of another. You must know the difference between the grammatical rules of the written language of the land, and the written language of the sea, maritime jurisdiction, law of water, or you may find yourself, presumed, lost at sea. The power of Rome is alive and well in the modern systems of governance that govern the citizens of the world today. But is it right? Is it just? Or is it the system of Satan itself, a system of hidden slavery in order to control the masses via a private contracting system in order to forego true justice, being a system to remove man from the common law of the public jurisdiction in order to subject such a man to fall into private foreign contracts, in order to forego common law justice without arousing suspicion, as described in Black's Law Dictionary under Glossa and Justinian. To confirm this, search Glossa and Justinian in the Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition. Is England really England? Is England and its city of London really England or the Roman Empire? And if such a choice exists, what official language controls the Vatican if the Vatican holds legal title over England and its so-called Commonwealth subdivisions, Australia and Canada, etc.? Is it the English language or is it the official language of Rome, being ancient Latin, meaning, if you are the holder of any account rendered in ancient Latin, all uppercase symbolic illustrative text? Are you just the corporate citizen of Rome, and no longer a true common law subject of the common aggregate of England, its subdivisions and the English language? Were you sold out to the foreign Roman military enemy as a trustee slave? Or were you ignorant to the greatest grammatical deception ever known in modern history, and fell into their trap, deceived by a grammatical masterpiece revived by the Justinian deception and the Roman occult? The ancient Latin, all uppercase text dogged into dog Latin is the copyright property of the debtor of the Vatican, the military, Roman Empire, and if you use it, you attach yourself to the terms and conditions of such property of the Roman Empire, being the Babel text of Babylon. But, is the Latin we see every day on driver license, court documents, banking contracts, government contracts, really true Latin, or is it the dogged corruption that is neither true English or true correct Latin? If this written text is English, and this is proper symbolic sign language Latin, then what is this text without the hyphens, and why is Rome and its legal eagles turning the blind eye? Who benefits from such a corruption? If Rome holds the legal titles of the countries of the world, then it alone is the debtor. But if Rome has the ability to confer the legal title to a third-party debtor, Rome becomes the benefactor of all such countries. This knowledge to confer such legal title, being the debtor of the world, to the unsuspecting masses, is the key to their success. Rome transfers itself from the world debtor to the world creditor, via an incredible grammatical deception that you are, or were never meant to know. If Rome has become the legal title holder of England and its subdivisions, defender of the Christian faith, then have you become the legal third-party title holder of Rome, being the debtor of Rome, evidenced by any account you may be holding with your name glossed into ancient Latin, American Sign Language or a corrupt version, being the property of Rome or its banking debtor, and appearing in such names or effigies as John Paul Smith, or John Paul Smith, or Mr. Smith. What foreign text appears on your passport, driver license, bank account, and the list goes on? Is it even Latin or dog Latin? And if so, maybe you are not aware that a true name can never grammatically appear in illustrative, symbolic text. Illustrative text is a picture, not writing. Grammatically speaking, true proper names are capitalized, not symbolized. Oxford Manual of Styles, rendering the presumption that your own ignorance of the grammatical rules of English and ancient Latin are the root cause of your own inability to know the difference between your true name and a foreign debtor account or ledger of the foreign Roman Empire that you were deceived into holding without your knowledge. Even your own name is made up of two entities, Christian name and surname, that is two, not one. And this is even evidenced by two birthing certificates, birth of the Christian name account, certificate of birth, and the birth of the surname name account, state birth certificate. The only time that the full legal person was birthed, being the name appearing with the Christian name, and surname appearing as one in proper English. Such as John Paul Smith is on the day of registration, not the day you were born, because the date the Christian name was registered was on the registration date some time after you were born, and not your born date. Your true full name is only the Christian name or given name. It is the state that joined the family name to your Christian name, so they are liable for the debts under the full name, John Paul Smith, because it's their property, their copyright, their creation. He who creates, owns. One can wonder why Latin and grammar have been removed from the corporate state school system, because if you could, really, read, and you knew your Latin and your grammar, you would see the deception in plain sight. If you were born into fraud, and lived your whole life in fraud without ever being aware of such a fraud, then coming face to face with the truth would understandably be a difficult thing to accept. Many will refuse to accept that their own lack of knowledge in relation to grammar is the cause of their own misunderstanding in relation to their own name, your surname appearing as a symbol, glossa, is assumed, it is not your property and does not appear as a part of your name on any birth certificate. The deception, and how it deceives us by our inability to read common English text. So what did Justinian do in order to gain so much power and authority over man? He created the greatest deception concept ever perpetrated against living man in modern known history. He killed man without anyone ever knowing that they were all legally dead, sacrificed at birth, dumped into the sea of commercial paper in order to be salvaged by the Roman Empire before they were ever aware that they were assumed dead, lost at sea and never likely to return. Justinian, Emperor of Rome, and his legal team between 530 and 560 AD created a governmental masterpiece of modern-day deception in order to deceive the public into falling into the private military contracts of the Roman Empire, under the direct control of the Vatican in order to forego true justice. Shortly after the Magna Carta in 1215, Accursius, who was a Roman jurist, around 1230 in the Hohenstaufen dynasty of the Roman Empire, had completed the Justinian Glossa, Corpus Juris Code, Laws of the Dead Corporation System. Such a system is now fully in play, operating under the all-caps Glossa Latin hidden concealed system of written Latin text, or a dogged version of it. Property of Rome that is assumed as common English text today. However, this is still far from the grammatical facts as confirmed in Black's Law Dictionary 4th edition in relation to the Glossa, and also confirmed by Article 11, 147 of the Chicago Manual of Styles 16th edition, identifying American Sign Language, operating under the grammatical rules of Latin text, being used in modern-day governance and private banking contracts. Common law of the land is not gone, but if you hold the person being the property of Rome and the Vatican, you have no right to be subject to the common law of the land. You have become the property of Rome and you are bound by the Justinian Code of the Dead Contracts, because the person that you hold is not your property, but you are subject to its debts if you are acting as the holder of such a legal person that was granted to you by Rome. Justice is a straight line, dog Latin is the bending of the line, the corruption, the spurious document, the declension, the debasement, the counterfeit, the immoral act that no positive law could ever follow. It is the clever deception that people assumed this text was English, and that's how you corrected the error in the name. It was never your name in the first place. This deception was right under your nose in plain sight all your life, but because it was always there, you didn't notice it. The deception was simple. If a man assumed that his heritage name, Smith, appearing as the foreign glossed account, appearing as the symbolic designation of a thing, Smith, on any paper instrument, and claimed such a name, assuming it to be his own property, then such a living man, in fact, has claimed ownership over a foreign Roman debtor account, being a debt ledger in the foreign illustrative symbolic text appearing as Smith, and unbeknown to such a deceived living man, he has become the unsuspecting debtor of the property of the foreign Roman Empire. The surname is the property of Rome, not you. Why? Because it appears in the Roman text, Smith, and not as a true noun, Smith. The living man has become the dead account holder, trustee of the property of foreign Rome, United States Federal Reserve accounts subject to the laws and statutes of such a foreign account and without compensation. He has been conned, trapped, snared, deceived into the savage grasp of the Justinian deception and unwittingly become the account holder of the accounts of the foreign Roman Empire. The Commonwealth of Australia is registered to the United States Federal Reserve via the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, USSEC, for good reason. It's linked to the City of London and Rome. The Commonwealth of Australia Company is a foreign account of the Roman Empire, and such registration information is in the public domain. They didn't really hide anything. That's how clever the deception has been. It's your mind that has been programmed to not believe the truth. The New World Order. If you were aware of what the New World Order, maritime jurisdiction government did to you in order to acquire your consent, you would never trust the government, the media, the police and the courts again. They are all one thing, that maintains a massive grammatical deception over your mind in order to keep you under Vatican control. One world government, or the so-called New World Order, can only appear under the water law of corporations, operating under the copyright of the written language of the Vatican or a total corruption of such a language. And if you become the citizen of a private corporation operating under such maritime rules of such a corporation, you are no longer a civilian of the land. You are overseas, presumed dead.